Reparenting my inner child was the most powerful process I've ever encountered. In fact, it was the only thing that really helped to address the root of my issues, my self-esteem and neglect stuff. And it helped me become a great partner in my own relationship. It's so incredible that I take all my clients through this process. And in today's episode, I'm going to break down for you how to reparent your inner child, how to meet your needs, and 3 items to check off a list so that you can start this process and become a better version of yourself for you and other people. Right after this intro. Welcome to the Inner Child Podcast. Now with 2 million downloads, I help high achievers recover from painful relationships and childhood trauma. Let's heal together on Season 2 of the Inner Child Podcast. Hello, besties, and welcome back to the Inner Child Podcast. I am your host, Gloria Zhang. I'm an award-winning therapist and relationship coach, and I've helped over 100 women break their relationship patterns and attract healthy relationships through the situationship to soulmate method. And today, I'm going to help you in this value-packed episode that I've crammed a lot of stuff in. So I hope it's a good one. Today's topic was voted for by you guys on my Instagram with a landslide, 77% vote. So a lot of people want to hear more about the actual process and steps to reparenting your inner child. There's a lot of misinformation on the internet and a lot of people putting a price tag on this information. So I'm just going to give you all of this information for free because that's what I do. Reparenting will help you value yourself more. It will help you feel more confident and taken care of, more joyful and abundant in your life, as well as your capacity to both love yourself and others. So it is absolutely magnificent. And I'm really excited to dive into all of this today. By the way, I found out just recently that the videos are now working on Buzzsprout, which nobody told me. And I definitely had a moment of, oh my God, everyone can see me now. Not just on YouTube, but on Buzzsprout, where I have a much bigger audience. So anyways, now that you can see me, I wanted to show you that I finally found a mic cover that matches the purple of the podcast logo. Can we please zoom in on this? You have no idea how happy I was and how long I've been searching for this. Pink mic cover. It's time for us to break up. Goodbye. So what we are talking about today are 3 specific things. I really want to clarify and help you understand what reparenting actually is and why it's so important, as well as understand why you may be running on empty. I'm going to give you 13 specific items to check off a list that you can run through every single morning that will help you meet your needs and go through this reparenting process. And finally, I'm going to end off today with a really funny story that involves 7 strangers and an Uber. So let's start with why reparenting is really one of the keys to fixing a lot of things in your life, including fixing your relationships. Fun fact, my professional opinion is that most relationship issues are actually caused by you expecting your partner to be everything that your parents couldn't be. And by the way, this can also apply to friends and other relationships in your life. We end up projecting so much stuff onto them, our abandonment, rejection, jealousy stuff, and we expect that one person to become our everything, which is kind of impossible. And it's a lot of pressure to put on one person. Your ideal partner is looking for someone to be their equal, and they're not looking to raise a baby. And so what I normally help my clients do is really strike that sweet spot balance, a balance between where your partner does meet some of your needs, but you are also meeting those other needs as well. And so relationships are 50-50, right? It's all about creating that balance in the end. And this is why most relationship advice will not work until you have resolved your own inner child needs first, because that is the root of the pattern. But what reparenting actually means is valuing yourself. It is about taking time to take care of the needs that you have that your parents didn't take care of. It means that certain emotional, mental, and physical needs that went unmet in you as a child actually are still unmet in you now. They didn't just disappear as you got older. In fact, they probably got buried deeper inside you and project themselves in different areas of your life. And so instead of relying on your parent or a partner to raise you, you want to take on that responsibility yourself of raising yourself and raising these parts. And I just want to interject and say that every time I say this, there's a certain percentage of people who feel very sad to hear about the fact that they need to reparent themselves. There's a sadness that comes from, why couldn't my parents be the ones to do this? Or why does it feel so unfair that I have to do all of this work now? And I completely understand, and I have been in that headspace for a very long time. And I want to point out that reparenting yourself doesn't mean that we're not getting support from others. It doesn't mean that we're not seeking safe connections with others. It just means that we're creating a balance between asking for help and also helping ourselves. It's not one or the other, because both are equally important. And another way that you can look at it is, instead of saying to yourself, I have to do all this work to heal myself, to see it as a gift and an opportunity that I get to do this work to help myself, because I live in an age where I'm getting this information right now on Gloria's podcast for free, and I can start taking these steps for free. And that is a privilege that a lot of people in the past didn't have. A lot of us didn't have access to this kind of information and these tools and techniques. And so putting that spin on it can really help make it feel like a choice that you're doing, that you are making the intentional choice to do this for yourself. So I hope that helps. Reparenting means that you become the loving adult to yourself. It means that you see your inner child as precious, important, and worth your time, and that you are making yourself the center of your world because you deserve it. And a really great example of this is Sylvia, who was a soulmate alumni a while ago. A lot of projections and a bad 5-year relationship. But during the program, we showed her that she could start to take herself on these self-dates and start learning to meet some of these needs internally so that she can show up as a better, more taken care of version of herself. And now she's got a new boyfriend. And because she was so used to treating herself well, that became the standard for how she taught other people how to treat her. And she'll be coming on the show soon, so I really hope you can look forward to that. So that all sounds fine and dandy, but there's actually a bigger problem here that gets in the way, and I'm wondering if you can guess what that is. Well, the problem for many people listening, including myself, is I didn't know what my needs were because nobody had ever asked me. No one ever asked me growing up what I wanted or what my opinion was about something or what I needed. And so it never even occurred to me to ask myself those questions. When somebody who grew up in a healthy childhood actually asked themselves this all the time, right, on autopilot. But there's actually another secondary, deeper level to this that I really don't hear anybody else talking about. And it's the fact that because you're so used to living life by the seat of your pants, you don't really believe that self-care is all that important. So you're not fully bought into this idea. And here's why. I used to sleep at 3 a.m. I used to wait until the last 5 minutes of any project to rush and get things done. I used to chug coffee by the liter until, basically I would get the shakes and have a seizure pretty much. I didn't have great relationships, but they were toxic, and at least I was still having sex, right? So it wasn't great, but I was getting something out of it. I was so used to living life by the seat of my pants, barely hanging on, but somehow still making it through, that it meant I was high functioning to a degree. And a lot of high achievers are. So the thought becomes, well, why bother with my needs if I'm still making it? My life and my love life were duct taped together with glue and tape bought from Walmart or Target if you're in the States. And so what I realized early on is that living life by the skin of your teeth is not actually living. That's surviving. Real living is about being present, grounded, nurtured, taken care of, and being in overflow so that you're not giving from emptiness. And if you want to bring that kind of stability and abundance into your relationships, well, it really starts with you and taking care of yourself first. In fact, that same feeling of taking care of my needs, it was the same kind of boring I felt in healthy relationships. I didn't really enjoy doing things just for myself. Now, I even shared way back on episode 4, 3 years ago, about my client who only made meals to impress his girlfriend. And so in the same way, I only felt motivated to dress up nicely if it meant looking good for a man. I would go on Instagram and take a picture of, hashtag self-care bubble bath. But I wasn't present in the bubble bath. I was seeing how many likes and comments I was getting on the post, right? And so there is this performative aspect to taking care of our needs, which is still under that disguise of pleasing other people. And so compared to that feeling of urgency when I was jumping through hoops for other people, just the thought of doing something for myself and taking care of my own needs felt kind of boring and uninspiring. And it didn't feel as fun. That is, until you get older and suddenly you cannot live by the skin of your teeth anymore because your body can no longer handle the stress, the hormones, the raging cortisol levels, and how it deteriorates your nervous system and your health and your cells, how it leads to ruining relationships, how it makes it impossible to sustain a lasting connection with someone. And so if you need that wake-up call, this is your wake-up call right now, that something really needs to change. Maybe it's time to start reparenting your inner child and addressing those needs that have gone unnoticed for way too long. And so the biggest question I usually get is, well, I don't even know what questions to ask myself. So I've got you covered. I have 13 specific questions for you that you can simply check off a list every morning or every week. So I've kind of done the work for you. All you need to do is do it. These 13 questions, we take the idea from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I've spoken about before. And basically, Maslow's pyramid of needs suggests that in order to be our healthiest selves, our needs are stacked up almost like a pyramid. So let's bring up a photo right here. We absolutely need our basic needs such as food and water and shelter met before we can start building on top of that our emotional needs, our social needs, and then finally our spiritual and meaning needs. And so you're not going to have a great relationship with anybody if you are running on empty, if you're giving from a place of deficit. It's just not going to happen, right? And you know that it doesn't work because we can simply look at our parents and the way that they raised us and how they probably weren't taking care of themselves, and look at how that impacted you. So as the cycle breakers that we are, we don't want to become like them. We are choosing a different path and creating a better future for ourselves, starting with this. Okay, I believe in you. So I'm going to read to you the 13 questions that you can ask yourself every single morning. And they're actually on page 108 inside my book, A Woman's Guide to Inner Child Healing. So if you got a copy of my book, you have it right there. If you don't have a copy of the book, don't worry, I'm going to read it out to you right now. Or I suppose you can just re-listen to this part of the podcast every morning and have me read out the 13 needs for you. Okay. Question number 1. Are you thirsty? Have you had 8 glasses of water? Does your mouth feel parched or moist? Question 2. Are you hungry? Have you eaten your meals today and on time? Do you feel a stir of hunger inside your abdomen? And did your meals contain proper nutritional value? Number 3, do you feel hot or cold? If you sit still for a few seconds, does your skin feel cool or warm? What is the temperature in the room? Are you feeling warm or sweaty or chilly and cool? Do you need to put on more layers or take something off? Question 4. Have you had enough sleep? Do you need to rest? Did you wake up feeling rested this morning? Do you know how many hours of sleep you normally require? Do you feel the urge to take a nap or lie down? Number 5. What emotions are you feeling? If you sit silently for a few seconds, are any emotions or sensations rising to the surface? And if so, where are they coming from? What do these emotions need from you? Number 6, do you feel safe in your environment? Do you feel at ease in this room or your current environment? Is your heart rate steady or do you feel on edge? Do you want to stay or do you need to remove yourself? Number 7, do you feel secure in your finances? Do you feel safe and aware of your financial situation today? Are you avoiding looking at your bank account? Are you thinking about money incessantly? What do you need to do in order to get a grasp of your money? Number 8, have you met your social needs today? Do you feel connected to others or do you feel alone? And if so, what kind of social need do you require? Do you desire an intellectual, comforting, fun, or serious interaction with someone safe? We're almost there. Number 9, do you feel safe and comfortable around the people you're surrounded by? If you're around someone, does your body feel at ease around them? Do you feel like you can openly express yourself? And does your company encourage and bring your best self? Number 10, do you feel good about yourself today? How do you actually feel about you? Do you like yourself today? Are you encouraging of yourself today, or do you need to apologize to yourself? Number 11, are there 2 things that you can check off your to-do list today that will make you feel more accomplished? For example, make the bed or pay the bills. Number 12, do you feel inspired to do anything creative or fun today? Are you receiving any spontaneous ideas or sparks of creativity that you can channel through writing, drawing, or something similar? Do you feel moved by observing a piece of art? And finally, number 13, how can you feel more fulfilled in your work today? What's one thing that you can do at work today that can make you feel more accomplished and fulfilled? Those are the 13 questions. And you can always go back to this episode and listen to them. That's actually a really good, simple way to go through this reparenting process. And it's really interesting hearing these questions because a lot of these prompts and questions are things that I just never heard from anyone growing up. It's bizarre to think that there are kids who are raised in a very loving environment who regularly hear these things. And so they have learned to internalize these questions. But more importantly, when you're constantly being asked about yourself, you start to value yourself. And you start to believe that all of these things are really important. Now, when you hear these questions, it means that you are allowed to do what you need to do, even if you're the only person in the room who does it. Like, if you need to go home and sleep, it's okay if you're the first person to leave the party or leave the conference. If you need to pee, it's okay if you're the only person on the Zoom call to exit. You got to do it for you. And so before we end with a call to action, where I actually have slipped in 2 bonus journal questions for you. Whoa, I'm going full out in this episode. I wanted to end this segment with a funny story to show you how healthy people actually behave very differently with their needs. And this story is actually about my little sister, who is super secure in her attachment style because I basically raised her very well. So in 2017, my little sister found herself trapped on the subway line on her way to her final college exams. Dun dun dun. It just happened on the day of a bomb threat, which caused huge delays. And don't worry, nobody was hurt. And my sister, being so unapologetic with her emotions, started sobbing in front of a train full of strangers and asked all these random people for help. And about 7 people rushed to get her out of there. People were offering her tissues. This one British lady even offered to pay for her Uber so that she could make it to her exam. And so you had all these strangers, these random people who were already stressed out because of the delay, going out of their way to help my little sister get to her exam. All because she asked. All because she valued herself enough and wasn't concerned about what other people were thinking. And there's more. This became such a big deal that someone tweeted about this incident, and the University of Toronto news site ended up publishing 2 articles about my sister and this incident, which I found. And if you want to read it for yourself, you can actually click on the link in the show notes. It's hilarious. And, every year we resend this article to each other because it's just too funny. But the moral of the story is that when you value your own needs and you value yourself, you are also setting an example and teaching other people what you need. And there becomes no more guessing and hidden expectations. There's no more subtext. There's no more built-up resentment because you're not communicating what you're looking for. But you are understanding what you need, and you're able to communicate that in a way so that the right people can understand. Can I get a hallelujah for that? So, call to action. 3 things for you. Number 1, living life by the skin of your teeth isn't living, it's surviving. Living is about being present, grounded, nurtured, taken care of, and in overflow. And if you want to bring that same energy and stability into your relationships, it starts with taking care of your own needs first. Call to action number 2. Here are 2 bonus journal questions that I'm giving to you that we're also going to include in the show notes to help you reparent yourself. Journal question number 1. When you grew up, what messages were you taught about prioritizing yourself and your needs? Were you ever asked what you wanted, or were your needs simply brushed aside or minimized? Journal question number 2. How do you feel about other people who do prioritize their needs? Do you find yourself judging them, or is there a hint of jealousy or resentment that they're able to do something that you're not able to yet? And is that some kind of projection that we need to look at? See, these are really excellent questions at really taking ownership of your role in your healing. And I'm really curious to hear what sort of answers you come up with. So definitely let me know in the comments. And feel free to take a screenshot of this. Tag me on Instagram at @ByGloriaZhang to let me know what came out of these exercises. Call to action number 3, you can go back and re-listen to the 13 specific checklist questions that I created to be your go-to everyday checklist. And if you want the full version, that also includes 50 other inner child healing exercises. You can get my book, A Woman's Guide to Inner Child Healing. You can go to the website, find it on Amazon, etc., etc. Or you can just go back to this episode and re-listen to the parts where I shared those questions for you. Now here's a bonus call to action, number 4, a very secret new project I've been working on, but don't get too excited. Although my therapeutic methods are really great, I'm very proud of my work. I don't know if you guys experience this. My biggest issue is that in this current day and age, there's just too many distractions in my clients' lives. And I really wish that healing trauma could work a little bit faster so that people can see their results sooner before they start to lose patience and get distracted by work or the economy or Netflix. So I have been working on a new secret method that combines unconscious hypnosis and sound technology, which is research-based, so that you can rewire your brain in your sleep while doing my methods, for the purpose that you can heal your inner child trauma faster, feel relief from anxiety and depression faster, because I really believe that trauma healing needs to stay up to date with scientific advances, because we're not cavemen around here, and I really want to be part of this. I think doing exercises, talk therapy, journaling, these are all great things, but it's just not working as fast as I would like it to. And there's a lot of fascinating new research out there around biohacking, sound technology, so that we can optimize the brain faster and more effectively than old methods. So right now we're still in the experimentation phase, but I am looking for 8 to 10 people who want to join the beta version of this program at a subsidized price. So in exchange for this, you need to be committed to completing the program and to share your feedback with me. All right, so that's what I'm asking in return. Only 8 to 10 people for this current beta round. If this is calling to you and you want to be part of something that is groundbreaking when it comes to trauma research, maybe you followed my work for a while and you're ready to try something like this, go to the show notes. I've included a form where there's just a couple of screening questions so that we make sure that you're the right fit for something like this. Or you can email me at hello@bygloriazhang.com. Again, only 8 to 10 people, and it's really first come, first serve. All right, so, whether or not this becomes a thing based on our research, I will let you guys know in future episodes. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this episode, you found it really value-packed and helpful, please drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, check out my other episodes on this podcast, drop us a 5-star review, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a beautiful day and an abundant life. Mwah. Thanks for tuning in, bestie. I've got something for you. If you think this show deserves a 5-star review, we'll send you my free Inner Child Starter Kit as a thank you for your support, which contains exclusive wallpapers and resources for you to download. To get your kit, just upload a screenshot of your review on Apple or Spotify to my webpage, bygloriazhang.com/reviews. The link is also in the show notes. There you can also check out my healing sessions and programs at bygloriazhang.com. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast and I will meet you in the next episode. Mwah!